This is my new Plasma Cut 40. It's an HYL brand. It just came in, and I've never had a plasma cutter. I've never operated one, so this might be interesting. But it is a 220 volt only, and so I went ahead and wired my shop for 220. If you guys may remember, anybody that's watched my previous videos on my HYL MIG 160 welder, it is a 110 or a 220, and so I've been using it using the 110 adapter because I didn't have 220 yet. But since I got this plasma cutter that's a 220 only, I was forced or sped up the process of getting a 220 plug installed into my shop building. So I'm going to be unboxing this and taking a look at it and seeing what we got. So there's a regulator that came with it. Hose. Okay, so actually came with a couple of bags of extra tips and fittings. Has a wrench, and like I said, it's got this guide. The torch, again, I know nothing about plasma, so I can't tell you if this looks good or not, but it feels pretty good. It's pretty heavy, so the machine itself. So this is it's a 40 amp plasma cutter. And so far, just like the HYL MIG 160 that I purchased and did some videos on, the quality, fit and finish and all that appears to be very nice. No concerns of, like it's about to fall apart or anything like that. So I'm anxious to get this hooked up and start cutting on something. Okay, I got the regulator hooked up, and one thing I'm gonna, before I get going too far, I'm gonna replace this barbed fitting here with a quick disconnect for my air compressor, because it didn't come with a quick disconnect. All it came with was two barbed fittings, one on each side, which is fine for this side. This is coming out, going into the machine, but where I want to hook up to my air compressor, I'd like to have a quick disconnect right here. So I'm going to take this barb fitting back off and get a fitting for a quick disconnect for that. I've got all the parts laid out here that came with it. Came with, I don't know, 5 or 6 extra cutting tips and nozzles. It did come with a little guide that you can put on the end of the torch. I found that, I mean, I have used it several times since I got it, and I mean, it's no need really to even use that, but it did come with it. Of course, the owner's manual and the ground lead, which is the DIN style quick disconnect connector, and then the cutting torch. Not for sure what these types of ends here are called, but it's a nice fit. Goes into the front of the machine, so it's easy to take on and put on and off. But it's very simple to use. It works great. Just one button, and it works great. It came with a regulator, and it tells you in the manual what this is supposed to be set on. I think it's like 3.5, and then it has a locking. You just lock that in, pull it up to change it. When you get it to where you want it, you lock it down, and then you should never have to change it again. You do want to run extremely dry air through any plasma cutter, and so what I installed in for my air compressor is a small desiccant air filter that keeps any moisture from going through the lines and into the plasma cutter, and that seems to work great. My air compressor, it's just a small little Husky. It's been a good air compressor. I've had it for probably, I don't know, 7 years maybe, 6, 7, 8 years. Had zero problems out of it. So it's rated at approximately, let's see, I think it was 60% duty cycle at 40 amps, and which is not too bad, I don't think. Air compressor pressure that you need is you need 3.5 CFM at 60 psi, and which oddly enough is almost exactly what that little Husky is rated at. Actually, it's rated almost double that. That's right. Yeah, the Husky is rated almost double that, which is my understanding. To effectively run a plasma cutter, you really need almost double what the plasma cutter is rated at in order to be able to use it on a more continuous basis and be able to keep up, so that your air compressor can keep up with it. And so far I've not had any issues with that. I have used it just playing around with a couple of things, and then also I used it in the making of this stove, this barrel stove. I cut out the door and the flange on the stove, and then also cut out the hole in my tin wall. So, and it, of course, that's all real thin gauge material, but it cut through that stuff no problem whatsoever. So it really seems to be a really nice unit. for the money, let's see, I paid $278 if I remember correctly. This was actually a Christmas gift from my wife. She knew I wanted a plasma cutter, but she had no idea what plasma cutter I wanted or where to order it. So she's like, well, for Christmas, I wanted to get you a plasma cutter, and so go ahead and order it. So that's what I did. And so I called the distributor out of Florida, which is the International Welding Equipment out of Florida, and talked to those guys about it, and I was able to get this for $278 and free shipping. And if you're looking at plasma cutters, you know that is a very good deal. Even the cheap Chicago Electric plasma cutter at Harbor Freight is, I don't know, $500, $600. So this is an extremely good deal, and like I said, so far it works great. It's rated at, it'll cut through 3/8 inch steel, and it says it'll sever up to a 1/2 inch steel, which I figure for me is more than I'll ever do. This is more of just a hobby type thing for me. If you've seen some of my other videos, I also bought an HYL MIG 160. It's a 3-in-1 welder that you can do MIG. You can also do flux core, of course, and then stick, and then TIG as well. So, and it's been a great welder so far. I've had no problems with it at all. And so when it came time to get a plasma cutter, the choice was pretty easy for me to go ahead and try the HYL brand on the plasma cutter. And it weighs approximately 25 pounds. It's really light, mobile. The only thing about it being mobile would be the fact that it is a 220 volt unit only, whereas the MIG 160, it's a 110 or a 220, either one, so you can use it with just 110 if you need to, but this is a 220 only. So for mobile use, you would be limited unless you had the capability of 220 generator or something like that. But it's a very nice unit. It's well put together. Both this and the MIG 160 both seem very good quality. And like I said, they both work flawlessly so far. So I have no regrets on either one so far, and I'm very happy that I purchased both of these. So like I've said in my other videos on my MIG 160, it's just how long are they going to last? That's an answer that I can't answer. So until I've used them for quite some time, and we'll see. But so far, excellent purchases for the money. Seems to be great. So thanks for watching.